If you have been wondering whether to wait for interest rates to drop or if you should hold off until home prices decrease, you are in a right place. In today's episode, we'll address some of the common concerns and questions that arise when considering real estate transaction during uncertain economic conditions. Welcome back to Invest in Jersey. My name is Gohar Grigoryan with Keller Williams Realty, and I have a special guest today, Matthew J. Petriello, an experienced attorney, and today we'll dive into a topic that many buyers and sellers are concerned. Hi, Matthew. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. Such a pleasure.
Let's just dive right in and talk about, is this a great time to buy a home?
Sure. So we're in a very interesting market here at the time in which we are. We have a situation where while interest rates are historically a little above average, but pretty much average, and home prices going up at the same time, which usually don't happen together. But there's an old adage that the right time to buy real estate was always yesterday, right? So while there is a unique market right now going on for buyers, there is opportunities out there. There's opportunities for, especially in kind of multifamily situations, if you're looking to invest in real estate, right? Because one of the things that's going up faster than prices are rent amounts as well. So even though the price of the home may be higher, the price that you would be collecting on the rents from the other units is higher as well, therefore allowing that profit margin. And as far as single family homes as well, we do this every day. And while it is certainly a business and very often buying and selling a home is the biggest financial transaction of someone's life, there's more to it than just the business, right? This is your home, this is your family. Is it the right number of bedrooms, the right number of bathrooms? What about the school system? What about the crime rate? And there's a lot of times more going into buying a single family home than just the numbers.
So another question that we get a lot from buyers and sellers, should we wait until the prices come down before we start buying? What is your suggestion on this?
I saw a very interesting ad on the internet the other day where there was someone who said, I'm going to wait for prices to come down. They said it in 1971 and they had to wait 21 years for the prices to come down, right? Real estate is a unique asset in a lot of ways. And if you are buying, especially if you're buying for the long term, right? If you are buying for the long term and your investment, it's your own home sometimes, so maybe you don't view it as particularly an investment, but your asset, it sure is. And if you have a long time horizon on that, if you're planning on raising your family in this home, if you're raising your children in this home and being in the school system for 15 years, when you look at real estate over that long of a period of time, it is one of the safest places to put your money in the country. So waiting for the prices to go down may not be to someone's advantage. And again, as I had said in the previous answer, so often buying a home is not just about the numbers. It's not only about the money. It's your family, it's your children, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your sister, maybe someone's living with you. There's so much more that goes into buying a home than just the numbers, that there's other considerations that are not purely financial to take into consideration as well.
Agree. And those are priceless. Things that we're moving for, like our family, to be closer to our family, grandparents, and all other family members. That's the most important things. And talking about prices, I just happened to talk one of my clients who bought, it's a year ago. They bought this property for $350,000. Mm-hmm. It's a two-family home. The price of the home now, it's $550,000. They did not do any major upgrades on the property. So waiting for the prices to go down may not be the smartest decision to do now.
That's right. And they might have said a year ago, oh my God, we think we're buying it high. And then they made that return. Interestingly, the day that we're recording this, the new monthly numbers from JrI, the realtor organization for the state of New Jersey, the new monthly numbers just came out literally today. And you see year-over-year price increases between 6 and 7% with New Jersey as a whole. And those price increases are even higher in northern New Jersey as you get closer to New York City. So again, while in general, if your time horizon is long, you will see those pretty solid and historically strong returns on real estate investment, especially when your time horizon is long.
Of course, and we still see bidding wars if the home is priced correctly, even though some buyers think that the prices are going down and there is going to be more inventory, but we don't see that yet, at least in our area.
100% agree. We are still seeing bidding wars. Again, as of the day of this taping, we are seeing bidding wars today, nowadays, more than we have in the last 6 or 8 or 10 months. The bidding wars are coming back. People waiving things like certain inspections or their appraisals. Those things are coming back. The inventory numbers are so low that even though overall the number of buyers have decreased and their purchasing power for everyone has decreased with interest rates going up, the inventory is so low that there's still significantly more buyers than the historical average for every single home. And you would know better than me, but you see, even around my neighborhood, open houses around my neighborhood, there's 20, 30 people still outside of every single open house, especially the ones that are priced right.
So we also get a question from our sellers, right? They are concerned that, okay, if I sell my house, how I'm going to be able to buy something else if the inventory is low and there are bidding wars. What should I do? What are my options? We usually suggest them to, have multiple options, maybe like a contingency of finding something or renting back. Let's talk about a little bit that so our sellers feel comfortable that there are more options that they can think of, and maybe it's good advice to talk to an attorney who can give them a legal advice what will be a right thing even before considering selling their home.
When you're talking about a contingent buyer, they find themselves in a very unique situation right now because they're about to experience both sides of a very wide range of the market, where they are in a seller's market and they get to experience the advantages of being the seller in a seller's market, and then they're a buyer in a seller's market and they're a contingent buyer in a seller's market, which makes it even more difficult. So they're going to experience a wide range of leverage positions during their transaction. For a seller in that situation, there's multiple options. And what I would say to that seller first, while we will always talk through during the attorney review process, during the contract process, we'll always talk about the actual logistical process of the transactions. You want to start the conversation, in my opinion, out on the positives, because there's many positives right now. This is a house that they've probably owned for a little bit significant period of time. They have likely made a lot of, a decent amount of equity on this home. They might be upgrading to another home or downgrading, but cashing out that equity. So there's all sorts of good things that are likely happening, not always, but likely happening for this family. So you want to stay in that position where you have the strength of being a seller. Now on the buy side, in this market, a contingent offer is more difficult to get accepted, right? In this situation where I just said that the seller is having leverage in the seller's market that we're in, I would highly advise them having a contingency in their sale contract. So their sale is contingent on their buy. They don't need to sell. They don't need to move unless they're going to buy. They're going to be able to get that term on the sale side, as I'm sure you see all the time in this market. They're going to be able to get that because of the leverage situation advantage that they're going to have. When they're going and finding houses, I have empathy for realtors nowadays and how many more houses that you must be going to view with the average buyer compared to in the past. All the wonderful work that you guys do on the buy side, it is, I'm sure, accelerated right now. So they're going to have to find a seller. It's going to have to accept their contingency. They may have to pay a little bit higher of a price, or they may have to give offsetting their contingent sale on their buy. They may have to give other terms. Maybe they are going to wind up waiving some sort of limited inspections, or maybe they are going to have to give an appraisal waiver or an appraisal gap coverage for a certain amount and things of that nature. In addition to, I would say that's the traditional way in which to buy and sell at the same time. There are other options, like you would say. One thing that we do see now that the sellers are doing, and again, taking advantage of their leverage position, you see sellers selling their home and then engaging in what's called a use and occupancy, right? Which is almost like, it's like a rent back, right? Technically different than a rental. It's a license. It doesn't matter for all intents and purposes. But that's what they were doing. They wound up actually selling their house, getting a 30-day, 60-day, 70-day, right around that number is where it's going to top out, maybe 90-day, on a use and occupancy, where they sell their home, they cash out, they get their money, they get paid, and they rent back from the person who bought from them. In that way, now when they're looking for a home, they have the cash in hand. Their purchase is not contingent on their sale because their sale's already done, and it puts them in a much better situation in their buy.
I agree that this is a really good way of moving forward for the sellers, because now they are cash buyers rather than having a contingency, and their offers can be accepted a lot easier than with many contingencies.
For sure. One other advantage to the U&O is this, whether we're in this market or any other type of market, whenever you're buying and selling a home at the exact same time, you are always going to find yourself in a leverage, even if you're a seller in a seller's market, you are going to find yourself in a leverage problem in that the person who's both buying and selling needs everything to go their way. All the logistics need to work out in their favor so that they can effectuate those transactions and their moves simultaneously. The use of occupancy, and because of that leverage situation, they might have to give more things than they want. Maybe they need to give up more on inspections on their sale than they wanted to, but they need to do it because they need the sale to go through, because the buy is pending and they need everything to happen again as they need it to happen. The use of occupancy and the rent back eliminates that disadvantageous leverage position for them. So there's many advantages to it.
There's many advantages and disadvantages.
Yes,
So we
yes.
definitely get advice from an attorney, real estate attorney, who can help them throughout the process and make the life so much easier.
I appreciate the kind words. And again, of course, we're giving general answers to general questions here, but that's why, in my opinion, it's so important to work with a team that works together, to work with a team that does it full time, in that everyone's going to be a little bit different. Everybody's situations are going to be a little bit different. Every family's going to be different. Everybody buying a home or selling a home is going to be a little bit different. And each individual contract needs to be tweaked to that family's needs.
Matthew, thank you so much for being here today. It was my pleasure. So if you have any further questions for your specific situation, please feel free to comment below and connect with us. Matthew and I will be happy to answer all your questions that you might have.
Gohar, thank you so much for the invitation today. It was such a pleasure to be here. Once again, my name is Matthew Petriello at Petriello Law in Wayne. All of our contact information will be, I'm sure, on the video itself, petriellolaw.com. If you're buying or selling a home and you're in need of services, please keep us in mind.